Enco Foods USA. We're super excited to be back with a new Facebook and also Instagram Live with you guys. So today we are bringing to you some wonderful ideas for this coming Appreciation Day. So we're going to be making two different cookies, and we will be using different materials. So the first one will be making some royal icing, and we're also going to be using some airbrush techniques, as well as in our school bag, we will be using some fondant or modeling chocolate. Okay, so stay tuned because we're going to have a lot of fun watching how we decorate these appreciation cookies. Okay, so before we start, let me tell you, remember that Enco Foods has all of their products available directly in Amazon and also directly at Enco Foods USA. So they have their meringue powder, and today we will be using this royal icing mix. And remember that there are two different bag presentations, okay? So this is a smaller bag and this is a 2-kilogram bag. And we will be using this because the only thing you need to do at home is basically you purchase your bag. You only need either a stand mixer or a hand mixer, and you only need to add water to it, let it beat for a few minutes, and remember that all of the instructions are on the reverse packet, okay? So today we will be using also their food gel coloring. And remember that one of the wonderful things about Enco's products and about their gels is that they actually have a gel texture. So what does that mean? That even if I use it like maybe in a macaron or maybe royal icing, fondant, buttercream, or even cookie or cake batter, the most important thing is for my food gel coloring not to change the consistency. So for this is one of the wonders that we will be using. And I'm going to be letting you know which colors we will be using for this color scheme, okay? So first of all, for our pencils, we will be using some yellow. If you're in Mexico, I would definitely recommend you to use our mango mousse. But if not, you can either use a lemon yellow or maybe egg yellow. I would do a combination of them to get this Pantone, right? Like this color. You don't want it to look like too neon bright, but I think it's like a very nice pencil color, okay? So for the tip of our pencil, which would be maybe making, I don't know, like make believe that it's the wood, we would be using some ivory, creamy ivory. Remember that this is from our Yummy collection, which is this little cute box. This, you can find it either as a kit or as individual packaging, okay? And remember that they also have this 30 set full gel coloring set, but they don't include all of our Yummy collection set, okay? So remember that you can purchase our Yummy collection kit apart, and that way you will have all of the colors that we will be using today. So this is our creamy ivory. So this is the one that we will be using for the wood part of our pencils, followed by the little tip with some super black. If you are new over here, I will make sure that you are going to fall in love with all of Enco's food gel color line, because you will see how saturated the color is and you won't need as much quantity, and they are flavorless. Okay, following for our school bag, we will be using some minty marshmallow also from our Yummy collection. And you can you can do it like in any color that you would like, but I will be using some mint color, but then I'm also going to be combining it with either lavender or bubblegum pink, okay? So today I will be using for the side bags of our school bag, some bubblegum pink, and my lavender, it's going to be for my little bag opening where some pencil transfers will be coming out, okay? And last but not least, we will also use some watermelon red. This is just for our little A+ sign that we will use in our cookie, okay? Both of our cookie cutters you can find directly at vanilcoutureshop.com. And remember that we do ship internationally our products. However, if you're interested either in the royal icing, meringue powder, or the food gel color line, remember that you can buy it, just purchase it directly at Amazon and at Enco Foods USA, okay? You can also send us a message if you are watching us from somewhere, because we're starting to have some distributors around the US, so we would also help you out to let you know if we already have a nearby store that is carrying our products, and that will just make us very, very happy to help you out. Okay, now on the other hand, for our cookie, we will not only be using our food gel color line, we will also be using some airbrush. So for our airbrush, Enco has their airbrush colors. However, I'm also using our food gel colors to create our own airbrush colors. So remember that we already have posted an Instagram reel, and if not, we will be posting also soon, so that you can have the amazing quantities, the exact quantities that you will need to create your food gel colors onto airbrush colors, okay? So let's start. So
okay, wait a second, because I haven't said hello. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So, I have some comments here.
We also have a little gift for you.
Oh,
so
yes.
Remember to help us sharing this video, because that's one of the first steps for you to get a gift. So make sure to share, and that way you can also get a little gift for you guys, so that you can make some cookies.
Hello, Vanilos, watching my favorite teachers in the world.
Thank you for watching us and staying with us.
Hi, Lil and Willie, how are you?
Welcome, guys.
Okay.
Is anyone over here? If there are any questions, remember that you can also ask if they want in Spanish, and Ami can also help us out with some questions, and I can just translate it, okay? Okay, so
Nice.
First of all, we need to start by flooding our cookie, because one of the things is that when we want to use our airbrush, we do need our royal icing to be fully dry, okay? We don't need it to be like maybe having a half crust, or maybe if it's still like a little bit humid, because that way it's going to be smudged when we will use our stencil on top, okay? So make sure that it is dry. I already have one that is trying to just pre-dry in the meantime, but we will start by flooding our hexagon cutter, okay?
All right.
So if you want to over, let me bring all of my piping bags.
So, we have a
Yes.
gift today.
Yes, we have a gift. So we want you to create this wonderful cookie, and for this we will be gifting our design for you to make, because basically this you can also do it either in a circular shape, a square shape, but we wanted for you to bring the lettering, the teacher's day lettering on top of your cookie. So for this we will be gifting this little sheet, okay, the design.
But
And
first
for
of all,
that,
you need to...
exactly. You need to first share this video.
Yes.
You help us a lot by sharing this video, and then you will see how you will get this little gift for you guys, okay? So, let's start by outlining our cookie cutter. So for this, let me just bring...
So, remember to share this live, because we have a gift for you, for all those who actually share the video.
Yes, please. You help us a lot by sharing the video, so that more people can also get excited to cookie decorate with us.
Hello, Vanilas. Hi.
This is medium consistency. Hi, welcome. And I'm going to be using a number 1 tip, because I don't want it to have like too much volume, this cookie. You can also do a number 2 tip, but this specifically, I wanted to have less volume. That way it can dry faster. That's mainly the reason. So this is a number 1 tip. And I need to stop in each corner for it to be like a 90-degree angle. If I do it all at once, I'm going to have curvy edges, and that will not look as geometrical as we want it to be. There was a little bubble there.
And you can fix that with just stopping on
on each edge.
Okay.
If you have too much excess on your tip, make sure to clean it, and then you start over. That way you won't have like a messy outline. Okay, following, we will start flooding our cookie. This is flood consistency. Remember that flood consistency is the one that we just need to add more water to it, and that way it will just be the one that it's easier for it to become smooth, fully smooth.
And remember that we have a gift for all those who help us
share this video.
Yes, sharing this video. So, para todas las personitas que nos ayuden a compartir este video, recuerden que tenemos un pequeño regalito que ahorita les decimos cómo se lo van a ganar.
Yay! Okay, so we'll keep flooding. And now, one of the things that I want you to see is that I know that each cook here have like a different way of basically working their cookies. However, I don't really flood like this way, like all around my cookie. I try to just start working towards like small areas, And I don't walk, like I don't keep walking unless my previous icing is fully smooth. I do this just to avoid some cratering and sometimes uneven surfaces. That's one of like the most common questions that I also get when flooding cookies. So this way I also make sure I am always doing the same kind of pressure on my hand. And that way I end up always having the same volume without any craters or any uneven surfaces. That will make my airbrushing techniques and other techniques just make it harder. Okay, so always make sure to have the same height at all times, and that basically will just help you out with the amount of pressure that you have in your hand. So I'm almost done. I'm gonna leave a little space there for my scribe tool. That is it, right here. Because I saw a little bubble there. There. Pop it out. Remember that our scribe tool helps us smooth out my royal icing and make sure that I can pop any air bubbles that might be in the surface. I always try to clean it out so that I don't leave like any trace, and that way they will just be easier to bring down onto my icing. So once I have this, I need to let it fully dry. So I'm going to put it into my dehydrator. And I already have like a sort of pre-dyed, not fully dry cookie, but I want you to see what the next step would be. So before we move on to our hexagon, dehydrator, 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. That's the amount of temperature that I use. In case you're wondering. And for fully dry, I would just leave it first for half an hour, and after that, I would take off temperature and let it dry with a fan on, okay? So let's do first our school bag. That way we can also help our school bag to start drying. Okay. Let's open up our packing bags. Medium consistency, that's the one that we basically outline our cookies with, and remember that flat consistency is the one we flood.
Do you use this counting method for the consistency?
I do for the flat consistency only. For stiff, medium, and hybrid, I don't do counting because that may just be a little bit not so like specific, and it might be a little bit changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I open up my bag. I like a very small hole, not so small. Okay. Yes. And I'm going to start to make sure that I have a nice volume in all of my cookie.
I've heard about some people having craters on their flooding technique.
If it's cratering, like proper cratering, you can see like the actual hole. It is definitely air bubbles, okay? So I would recommend just to make sure that you don't have as much air bubbles, because the more water that you add to your royal icing, the more bubbles that will come up. So make sure to pop them before putting them onto your piping bag. That would be like one suggestion. And if they're not like actual holes, like not such craters, but more uneven surfaces, then it's just a matter of how much pressure you are making while flooding. That it's probably you will have some variations, and you do just need to standardize the pressure that you do all around your cookie.
Just like you're doing right now.
Yes, because it's like, I always give this example. If I just do this, probably the sides are the ones that have like more volume, and then the central part is the one that will tend to sink.
Oh, you're right.
And I need to make sure that it is all evenly flooded. Okay.
And about flooding, like over the outlining, you think, is it okay?
I like
Or
to
is it
flood
better
my,
to-
my outline. That's what I like. But I know that some people do like to see their outline. So I think it's just more like a personal preference. And before our flood consistency starts making a crust, meaning it's drying, with my other flood consistency in white, I'm doing my wet on wet technique just to make sure I do like a small polka dot design. And I need to make sure that they actually kind of like sink in. That way it's like a whole design, like they're all in the same layer. And they will have like a different effect if I would just let it dry and then put it on top. They will just be, they will have volume, and I don't want them to have volume. If you find that the last ones are, because this is starting to dry faster, then you can just do like this light movement with the scribe tool. That way you will help it sink a little bit. And we have our wet on wet technique ready to start drying, okay? So I think it's a very nice idea. I think I might also put some here. Yes. Okay. So I'm bringing it to
very
dry.
Cute.
You can definitely just ask for the color that you would prefer for your school bag. But this time I'm just using minty marshmallow. Okay. So I told you earlier that my cookie had to be fully dry in order for me to have some airbrush on top. So this is not fully dry. I just did it like 3 hours ago, more or less. And I've been having it in the dehydrator with and without temperature on. However, I need to do some transfer on top of it. So for this, remember that we will be gifting this, and we need you to help us share this video in order to have this little gift for you guys to give it a try for this cookie. So for this, I will be using some parchment paper and non-toxic pencils. We have our non-toxic pencils and parchment paper you can find in our store. And basically, this is how the design is. You would just trace it, you flip it over, trace it again, and that way we will just go directly onto our cookie. Now, I need you to see this. One of the first things that I will suggest you, because I cannot do like a very hard pressure on this, because remember that if this is not fully dry, is that I don't recommend you to, once you are like presenting where the parchment paper goes, do not slide it. If you slide it, then your pencil will be smudged, okay? If you have a projector, you can definitely do so. However, I find that it's like a very high investment, especially when you're starting with cookies. So I'm going to start, just need to make sure that I will have the flat side. I'm working towards me, and you should do the same when working onto your cookie. And for this step, you will not be using your cookie turntable, okay? You need your surface to be as stable as possible, because if it starts moving, then you might smudge it, you might not have like a very precise line. So it's very important to have like a very flat surface without any movement. And then from before pressing on top, I will present where I want my design to be. So I am pressing the sides of my table, and very lightly, because remember that I'm telling you that this is not fully dry, I'm going to start tracing once again where I traced previously with my pencil for the lettering design, the A+, each letter.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Do you have the perfect cookie recipe for the sugar cookie recipe?
Yes, and it's included in the Yummy Collection box. You will have a cookie decorating booklet, and that is where I share it. I really like that design, and I just find it easier. So yes, I would definitely recommend you to use that one. Before, I don't know if I have my cookie decorating booklet, but it comes inside the little box in this Yummy Collection box.
Okay. And how can I get it?
You can purchase it directly in Amazon or Enco Foods, or if you're in Mexico, you can find it in latienditapastelera.com. You can also find it there. So before I let go, I need to make sure one finger will stay on and the other one is the one that I'm going to lift, just to make sure, yes, I can see. So once I see it, I can see through the design, then I'm able to let it go. So before we move on to our royalizing, it's time for our airbrush, okay? So for our airbrush, we will be using our pencil 3, well, it's like a 3 stencil piece case. And I wanted to show you like a very nice tip for this. So one of our stencils is the pencil body, if we can call it somehow. Then the other one are the erasers that are on the back, okay? That way they start building where they go. And the third one is like the little black tip of like the code itself, right? That way when you layer the 3 of them, you will see that they're the perfectly matching pencils, okay?
Ooh.
So for this, what I recommend is when you have your cookie, you can definitely use your cookie cutter. And what I do is I always try to choose which body of pencils I like the most, meaning what kind of design I want to choose. Once I know, for example, I chose this, I would put it on top of my pencil, of my stencil. And with my pencil, because it is very easy to clean, I would just mark where the angles are, where the corners are. And I would do the exact same thing, like it's very, very lightly, but I can see it here. Can you see? I have my corner here.
So you mark it directly on the
stencil. Because when you're working in a series, when you have many cookies to make, sometimes you get lost in between layers. So I do these exact same step with each of them. Now, the only main thing is that you need to always align your stencils. That way you know exactly where the previous corner you asked for. You see? So it will be here as well. And the other one is here. And then once I have my eraser, I will do the same with my tips. I align it with my pencil bodies. You make sure that the little hearts are perfectly aligned, meaning this doesn't work if they're moved, okay? Or if they're a little bit like slanted. No, they need to be perfectly aligned. That way you make sure that all of the designs that you will be making with airbrush are going to be exactly the same on all of your cookies, okay? So this is the first step that I suggest you to have, especially for this layering stencil set, okay? Now, I already have some pre-made airbrush colors that we use from our food gel coloring. So this is yellow, some pink, but remember that you can also use directly Enka's airbrush color. What is the main difference? You will notice that food gel colors don't have like this drop, like a liquid, okay? And here it says airbrush food color. The rest of them will say food gel color gel, okay? So they're different. So once I have this, I'm going to start with the body. So for that.
So liquid colors are the same as airbrush colors?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So before I start, I'm going to pick my pencil stencil. I'm going to be using our Stencil Genie. Remember that you can find this also in our store, vanillaclickforshop.com. And I'm also going to tell you the difference when using the mesh. Okay, I'm going to show you into how we will not be using the mesh, but specifically for black, because in black you can really see like the difference when you have any issues, how this works. So first of all, I will place my stencil. Remember that you need to open it. This way it gets secured. And now I'm bringing my cookie. And I need to make sure that my corners are aligned to the corners of my cookie. Can you see that? So the corner of my white realizing on my cookie is perfectly aligned where my pencil mark is in both sides, okay? Now, I'm going to maybe I add a little bit too much. Martha says hello. Hi, Martha. Welcome. remember to share this video so that you can get a little gift. So I go directly 90 degrees and I'm going to start airbrushing all of my cookie.
Merly is asking what kind of paper you use for marking the cookie.
What kind of paper? Parchment paper. Good thing that it happened on the sides. And remember, it's layering. We need to layer our color, but at a good distance. If I don't do it at a good distance, then I might be adding too much liquid and they will seep through under. Let me just do one. Wait, look, watch this. I don't wanna be dry too fast. Okay, one more, a little bit more, just 2 drops more. Because I need to make sure that all of my pencils look very, very yellowish. And I need my color, my realizing to be fully flat. That way I would have some underspray, okay? So this is our first one. I will take off, one movement up, we take this off, and then we will go with the second layer, okay? Same thing, I need to align same height, okay? This part needs to be on the top part, just like we did and we marked, okay? That means usually I just let a little bit dry in between so that I don't smudge it when adding the next stencil.
Is it possible to watch this class in Spanish?
Is it possible? Well, this one's in English, but we can definitely do like a reel in Spanish.
Sí, para las personas que no entienden, que solo hablan español, digamos, nosotros publicamos este video en YouTube. Entonces, si nos sigues en YouTube, ahí aparecen los subtítulos automáticamente. Y recuerden que compartiendo este video, ahorita les vamos a decir cómo se pueden ganar un regalito que tenemos para ustedes, que es la plantilla de esta galleta. Pero deben de compartir el video.
Okay. So, the next ones are the erasers, right? So, same thing, I need to align the corner of my pencil, and that way you will see that all of our erasers will align to the pencil body. Okay, now we will switch to a different color. This time it's going to be our pink. Okay. I always have some paper towel here. Okay. And slowly, because at the beginning you will see, oh no, it's not enough color, you will not see it through. You need to be just consistent. Let me add a little bit more. Yes. So when sometimes you don't have perfectly aligned your realizing, that is when you may have some uneven surfaces. And when you have uneven surfaces, sometimes you will have the underspray. So second, we already have our erasers.
So sweet.
Let's dry it a little bit, because the last one we will use our mesh, okay? This is helping us out because my realizing is completely flat, but sometimes it is not completely flat. And when you have like a little, let's say this, let's imagine like this is a realizing, when not everything is fully flat, you will see some areas that might just be sunken. And when this happens, some of the underspray will be more obvious in those areas and it will not be as nicely like designed, okay? So let's go now with our black. And for this, it's time to use. Here. We first need to put our stencil. After our stencil comes our mesh. Okay? And after our mesh, we secure with the second part of our stencil genie. Okay? Now, same thing, we need to align it. I already have my marks here, just to make sure.
So you need both.
Yes, you need both.
The mesh and the stencil,
Genie, yes.
the frame.
Okay, right there. And once I have this, I'm gonna go with my black airbrush color. Okay. Yes, a little bit blood. Okay, let's see. Well, it's good that it's a mesh. Maybe it's the color a little bit.
It wasn't well mixed.
Maybe it's, let me see.
What a cute cookie! Greetings from Pachuca.
It doesn't matter. The thing that's mesh. Yeah, somehow when I do it here, it's working okay.
One question. What kind of pencil did you use for drawing on the cookie?
Non-toxic pencils, we have one, we have a 4-piece set on our store, and it's our brand.
Is there any particular reason why you use the mesh in this case and not on the other stencils?
There was one girl that asked me what was the difference, so I wanted to also put it in a live so that you can have that idea. But also in black is where you will find it. I don't think I would have an issue, like I'm about to I can just stencil it on top. But you see, even with all the mess that we did with some clogging on our airbrush, you can see that my lines are also very well designed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're not very careful and you have your uneven surfaces, because I'm not having an uneven surface here, then that's where the problem comes. And that way, if you're a newbie with airbrushing, this helps you out to avoid any mistakes. Okay, let me bring this over. So now let me just wash my hands very fast.
Looks so cute.
Okay, now once I have our stencil case, okay, let me bring my other cookie in the meantime so it dries. Yes, do you have a question?
No.
No, I thought. No? Okay. So,
Karina says, greetings with all my love.
Greetings, thank you for watching us. Now, we will outline the side of my school bag. Okay. Just like that. And we will outline just the bottom right now. And remember to make sure to move around your royal icing to make sure that there are no air bubbles. Okay? I'm gonna add a little bit more volume, move it around. Same thing on the other side. And if I find it like too flat, I just make sure to add a little bit more volume to it. But I know I made sure that there are no gaps in between. And last but not least, the handle.
Greetings from Tower On. A ver, adivina. Tower On. What place is that?
Oh my God! You're so silly, really. Greetings all the way to Torreon.
Very good.
Very good English you're going to
Yes, exactly. Very good English.
Okay.
Tower on.
Fine, let's do our handle. We'll put this to dry. And then on top, once it's dry, we will do our lids on top with pink. Okay? Now, moving on.
What size of tip are you using to outline?
For my school bag, it's a number 2 tip. For my hexagon, was a number 1 tip. The difference was I wanted this one not to have such a high volume. That way it would just dry faster for my airbrush. That's the main reason why. But you can definitely do both with any of them. Okay, so where's my... Is there another yellow? Oh, here. This is medium. So, medium consistency. Let's start. Make sure to outline on top of the pencil. I do halfway before I move on. I'm going to do my lettering. That way it won't be on my way. And that way I will just avoid any accident. And remember that we have an online lettering class. Very
yeah.
Lettering details, and we're still having some special price for you guys. So give it a try. So this is black, and this is medium consistency. And for this, I'm using a 1.5 PME tip. Okay? So
today we're launching an online course.
yes.
It is a lettering course with royal icing.
Yes. So you have full details of exact consistency, amount of water, and how they also depend on different calligraphies, fonts. Okay. So this is the A. Now we will use a little bit of our watermelon red icing for the plus.
Let's say I'm not good cutting the tip of the bag.
Mm-hmm. So
What tip should I use?
I recommend you to buy at least one, not open one, at least one tip of each size. That way when they are just fully closed, you put your tip, and that way it will just become your guideline for you to cut.
Okay. That's a good tip.
Okay, plus, and now it's time to move on to the teacher part. And this is what I mean by having just a freeway, because if maybe I already flood all of my pencil around my cookie, it will just be in my way and I might smudge it. Okay. So most of this kind of lettering, it has to do a lot with pressure piping, which basically is practicing the amount of pressure you add, because it will just be the same consistency. But in some areas, you just need to add more pressure, and then in some, you need to loosen the pressure to have like a thinner line. So here, thinner, down thinner.
Where can I find your online class?
You can find it at vanilcouture.com, or you can also send us a direct message and we can send you the link. Okay. Apply a little bit there, and more pressure here. See? And I need to make sure that my tip is always very clean. More pressure here.
And remember, we have a gift for all of those people who help us sharing this live.
Yes, please help us share this live. So, where's my yellow? Ooh. Okay. Then I keep connecting. It's up until here because this is where the eraser goes.
Oh.
The same here.
Oh.
So first one, then I need to go outside. Another one. Here. Finish it up. Then right there. Okay, before we start flooding, a little zigzag to avoid cratering in very narrow areas.
Would you say
medium consistency?
sorry?
No, it's okay.
Would you say that is number one tip?
I think it's smaller than, well, maybe a different brand, not Wilton number one. It would be like a Teco number one. Yes, because you know that different brands have different sizing. So just a smaller one. And now I have a large consistency for my yellow. And now, before I move on, with my scribe tool, I try to bring these little curves with my scribe tool. Finish. Right there.
I love this design.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
And you can just adapt it to any color that you have. Just go around the cookie. Okay. I can see some bubbles here. There you go. And I open and move it around. There's another one here. So you need to just be very careful that as soon as you see a bubble to also pop it. Because sometimes their bubbles are the ones that create also the holes that break through the icing. Okay.
Mary says, "Thank you for sharing this, your beautiful talent.
Oh, thank you.
I love you a lot."
Thank you so much. You're very, very kind. I can't wait to see what you create with this. And almost there. So I move around.
You can actually change the colors as well.
Yes. I did this on a white cookie just to help my stencil like to have more light, to be like the central point, but you can definitely just change the colors. Okay, so my pink.
Can you repeat the name of the store where to buy the stencils?
Yes, in latienditapastelera.com or in vanilcoutureshop.com.
Lovely.
Okay. Make it even. Okay, and with my ivory. Around. Remember that these are medium consistencies, so we need to shiver like little chihuahuas for it to be fully dry. Bring it a little bit here for the pointy edge. Okay, and it's time for it to dry for a few minutes. And I'm going to bring my school bag. Okay, so for my school bag, I have it over here. Let me bring this over. So for school bag, let's do the top lid on this.
La tiendita pastelera is the best.
Thank you. Okay. And right now we have a special promo, like special offer on the cookie cutters.
Oh yeah, we have.
So you can also take advantage of the free.
Buy three and no, buy two and get three.
Okay, very nice fluffy pink, bubblegum pink. Lid on top. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's already fully smooth. Make sure to just move it around. Sometimes air bubbles are more visible with movement. Yeah. And now let's put it to dry, and we will do our realizing transfers.
I love all the products.
Thank you. So I hope that you already have, if you are already a fan. These transfer sheets are available also in our store. So these are the scissor ones, and these are pencils. These are also for Teacher's Day. So we will use these to create our transfer sheets, our transfer realizing. So for this, we need some acetate sheets, a little bit of Crisco, and let's start with our pencil. Okay. So we're going to be using the smallest one, okay? Because we want our backpack to have some pencils coming out of it. Right there. Okay? And I need my medium consistency. Yes, not the flat one. I need this, the pink one, and ivory. I need to have them all ready on the side. So I'm going to start by outlining like the body. At the same time, I can outline all the way the ivory. I can already start also flooding it. And this we will not let dry in between. We need to make sure that everything glues together. That way, when I am with my same medium consistency flooding the pencil body, I need to make sure that it is touching the recently flooded pencil tip. Okay. Also, very important, you need to make sure that you have a nice volume. Okay, you need for your pencils to be like with good volume and not for them to be too skinny, because they might break. They will just become too fragile. Now, time for eraser. Now, for the eraser, if you do want to have that different, like little bottom part, we can just do a couple of pencils, and that can be the last thing we flood. So meaning, let's do another one in between, and I'm just going to leave that bottom part at last. Now,
wow.
I think this is what brings like a very nice wow effect on our cookies as well, because you will find it like very intricate design when something is coming out of the little pocket on our school bag. So I think this you can definitely do with plenty of time in advance. So now this one I'm going to do just a little bit different, so you can see a different version of it. Okay, just like that. We move it around a little bit to make it smooth. Then with our black, we can definitely do our little tip. This is the main difference that I'm making compared to this one. This one I'm going to paint on top, and this one I just basically did it with my realizing. What happens if you're only making realizing transfers? You can definitely just do it with ivory, and you're just saving sometimes to do the black realizing, but it just depends on the effect that you want to give. So for here, I go back and I do my bottom part of my eraser. Yeah. And I would keep on going with another one, and then I would come back and just do this last. The most important thing is for them not to blend, but there we go. Okay, so we have our pencils. You can do this like all evening, and then next day you're ready to just start popping them off. Okay, let's do some scissors. I want to check. Yes. So for my scissors, same thing. A little bit of Crisco, a little piece of acetate sheet. Remember, this is just to make sure that they fully slide without damaging them or breaking them. And for this, I'm going to be using our velvet gray. Unfortunately, this is still not available in the US, but you can also do black to have this gray effect. But if not, you can use the one in our gourmet collection. And okay, let's do the smallest one available as well. And this is also pressure piping. This one doesn't have like too much, it wouldn't be like too smart in terms of how fast it goes. If I first outline and then flood. So for these, I would just go directly pressure. So I do enough pressure just to make sure that I have it as round as possible. And I'm going to do the same on the one on the side. Move it around a little bit for you too. And with the help of my scribe tool, this little edge, I'm going to bring it, to drag it. Because if I try to do it with my piping bag, I'm sure that you will damage it. So once I have this, same thing here. Make sure that everything touches, okay? Otherwise, it will just break. Pink. And for this, I do like 3 outlines on top of each.
What's the reason to use the acetate?
Because I need some kind of material that holds the piece that is fully flat, and it will not start wrinkling when it's humid. If I also do it directly onto the cookie, it will not look as if it is like coming out. It will just be like part of the same layer. So this gives you like a more wow effect on how it actually looks like another piece coming inside of our pocket. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. I already have some done here. Let me see before this. Sorry. Let's do our little pocket. So for our little pocket, I already have one here, but I want to show you how I made it. So I will be using a little bit of either modeling chocolate or fondant, and this color is lavender. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be using a rolling pin. It's my little. Okay. And with my bag, I sort of created like a pattern with an acetate sheet of how big I want my pocket to be. Okay. So for this, I will use a little bit of cornstarch. Remember not to add too much. This is just in case where you are working is too humid. And I'm going to start rolling my paste, but I don't want it to be too thin because I want it to hold the shape. So then I would put my little pattern on top. Most of the times I just eyeball it, but I think this will help you out. And with an X-Acto knife, a cutter, you can look at the design, just like that. Remember that when you're not using your paste, make sure either if it's muffin chocolate or your fondant to always keep it inside a bag. I take off my little pattern. And now the first thing that I need to do, if you see there is like a very sharp like cut design that we did, which basically is just making, sometimes it's just, we need to just like flatten it, like soften it. So very, very lightly, very, very softly, because we don't want to just lose the shape. I'm going to soften it with my fingers slightly. Do you see what I am doing? Mm-hmm. Because this is how our pocket will come out from our school bag. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, same thing on the top part. So you can see the difference here that it's just straight, and here it's already rounded. So a little bit here, just lightly, not so much as this one, just for it not to be so obvious that you just cut something, okay? And now, once we have this, the idea that I need is for this to be kind of holding this. I need like an opening, right? If I just glue it right away onto my cookie, what's gonna happen is that it's just going to lay flat, and it might just either break my transfers or it will not be looking like if it's open. So for this, you can use any like towel papers, and we need to start putting something, yes, to create that curve. Let it literally just dry a little bit like that, making sure that the sides are fully flat and only the central part is the one coming out, up. That way it will be easier for me to glue these onto my royal icing. So I already have like a pre-dried one here, as you can see. So make sure that these sides you can fully glue onto the royal icing, but you have this little cavity there so that you can see that the pocket has an opening, okay? Now, before we move on to our school bag, let's finish the little detail on top of this.
Every time I make cookies, I always hear Lily next to me.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully it will just give you some ideas. See, a little bit of black, a little bit of vodka. This is because we didn't do it with royal icing. You can definitely do it with royal icing. And I'm just going to paint.
Could you please tell us the lifetime of the transfers?
If you use Enca's royal icing mix, you can definitely have it for months, like literally even 6 months. And you will have no issues. The main problem is how you keep them. You need to have them in an airtight container with no sunlight, direct sunlight, or no humidity or dust. Okay, so we have, last but not least, this is the flat one. Okay, We need to do our little lines just to have a little bit of texture. Very softly. Just remember that this is not fully dry. Everything is just easier when we just let it dry.
What happens when you hate your teacher? Can you give him a F? An F?
Now, I think they will just not get a gift, probably. You would give your teacher an F?
Of course.
Really? I would just not give them anything.
Oh, well.
Like, no, thank you. Was that your question or somebody's question?
No, my question.
Of course.
Of course.
That is so weird. Okay. Sometimes there are little bubbles there. Okay, this is the last step on this cookie. Okay.
And Lily, what happens if I don't have an airbrush?
You can definitely just do any other design. You can either maybe do some wet and wet technique, or maybe with apples. I think that's a cute idea. Maybe like this. Because I just find pencils are just longer to make, okay? But let's say... Okay, this is not flat consistency, but you could do apples. Remember to do it with flat consistency. Like little apples and a little bit of green for the leaves. You can do that print and then let it dry, and then you can do on top the same thing that I just taught you. But they need to be, as you can see, flat with flat consistency, okay? Because this one is more medium, like more stiffer, and it is not really helping me with that shape. But something like that you can do. Okay?
Lovely.
Yes. Now let's bring our backpack.
So we are very close to the end.
So in order to get the little gift, so you need to help us comment this video.
Sharing.
And also share this video, and you need to comment here the word teacher, okay? As long as you comment first, you share the video, and then you comment the word teacher, then you will get the free gift for this class. So make sure to follow both steps so that we can have it. Very carefully. I'm bringing my little scissors. And now...
So it's, how to say, for all those people who watch us, like after this video, when the video has been finished, you can send us a direct message through Facebook, because some people watch it on YouTube.
Is it, or is it directly in the live? It's in the live.
Yeah, but it's after the video,
when it's done.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you want it on this one, just very, very quickly.
I mean, for all those people who watch us on YouTube, can send us a direct message through Facebook to receive the gift.
Okay. Yes. Okay, just like that. Okay, and it's time to bring now our backpack. Remember that this is not also fully dry. We're just going to be very careful because we do need to have some pressure on it, and we don't want to break it. Okay, I definitely recommend you to do all of this once it's fully dry. So. Okay, very, very carefully. I might probably get some smudging out, but we will later clean it. I think over here it's a nice area. So clean. Now, where's up here? Now, very, very carefully. Okay. Okay. Just need to make sure that they're fully aligned. Yep. This side too. A little bit of my scribe tool. Okay. And now once I have this, I will also glue my realizing transfers, which I find this is the cutest part. So.
Same color as the background, right?
Yes. That way, if something comes out, it won't be a problem, and it will not be as obvious if there was a mistake there. So first one. There. The second one, I'm going to leave a little bit more coming out. Now, to be honest, nobody would just be carrying around scissors, open scissors, because that would just be dangerous. But we're just talking like cuteness here. So I just find it's cute for some of the scissors to come sort of out. So they will just be looking like this. Okay. And last but not least, another. So I'm doing like a little double outline.
Don't forget to share the video and then comment the word teacher.
Yes, to the little free gift. Yes, I can hold it in between. Just like that. Clean it up. Okay. And if you wanted even to personalize it a little bit more, we can definitely just put either this one more towards the bottom, and then you can put like a little name here for the teacher if that's something you wanted. Or even for first day of school, this is another cute idea for your babies. Okay, and I'm going to just do.
Where are you located?
We are in Mexico City. But remember that if you want to find Enco's products, you can find them directly in Amazon in the US and also directly at encofoodsusa.com. And if you have any questions or you're watching us from another state, you can definitely send a direct message at Enco Foods, and they can let you know if there's any nearby distributor or store that is carrying our products.
Beautiful cookie from Toluca.
Yay. Okay, so we are ready. This was our backpack. I'm gonna put this on the side. And the other one is this one, which you can also do. You can also use some realizing transfers, but I just find that if I keep adding things, then I'm also adding more time onto each group. Okay, and as you can see, for these ones, I just painted directly the little tip on top. But in the other one, my other transfer, I did it directly with royalizing. So that is just up to you for you to give it a try. Which one's faster? So these ones were just painted, and this one's was with royalizing. So I think this one's just faster, and it's a very nice idea to just keep on working. And we are ready, guys. We finished today's class.
Yay!
So
Look
remember, share this video and leave us a comment with the word teacher, and that way you will get a freebie, this free design for you to give it a try. And remember that the rest of our products you can find directly at vanilcoutureshop.com or in latienditapastelera.com. And if we also have Enco's products as well, and if you're in the US, remember that you can find either our yummy collection, their meringue powder, realizing mix, or any other food gel color product from Enco directly in Amazon and in their site as well.
So the pencil, Stencil, you can find it on latienditapastelera.com. I'm located in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, thank you for watching us from Missouri.
What's the color of the backpack?
This one is minty marshmallow. Let me just show it to you. Remember that you can find them either individually or as a set. So backpack was minty marshmallow, bubblegum pink, and lavender. And for our yellow, if you're in Mexico, I use mango mousse, but you can definitely either use lemon yellow or egg yellow. I would recommend more egg yellow. I think it has like a more like a pencil look, but I mean, it's just yellow. You can definitely use any of them. Okay.
Nice.
And remember that inside this, the Yummy collection, there comes a cookie decorating booklet, which is this little one that comes inside. And here you can find the cookie dough recipe and also the tutorials on how to create all of them. But I think it's a very good ally for you. If you're new onto cookie decorating, it's going to be like one of your best friends. Okay? Yes.
Nice.
Wonderful. So, are we ready? Are we having some...
We are ready. Y para las personitas que hablan español, recuerden que este video se va a publicar en YouTube y tiene la opción para poner subtítulos. Por si lo quieres ver por allá también, con mucho gusto lo puedes ver ahí. Y suscríbete a nuestro canal, que también tenemos canal de YouTube.
Yay.
Cool.
Okay.
Done?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Let me turn this off so we don't have so much. So, I gave you 2 different ideas to make these Teachers Appreciation Day cooking. I think you have like a maybe not so complicated one. Remember that I also give you another idea in case you don't have an airbrush. The idea is just to give something very cute. So, for our backpack, remember that we use some wet on wet techniques as well as some realizing transfers that look very cute. But if you also want to just make it easier, you can definitely just do not add any realizing transfers and just do a little back directly with realizing, and it will also look very cute. And last but not least, our other little cutter, which is the hexagon, which I did some pencil airbrushing techniques, a little bit of lettering. Remember that we have our online lettering and realizing course already available for purchase. And I hope that you give it a try for this coming Teacher's Day. Some of these cookies, remember to tag us directly at Vanille Couture, also Los Vanilos, and also at Enco Foods, or also Enco Alimentos, because we're very, very excited to see all of your wonderful creations using all of our products. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can find all of these products directly from Enco's family in Amazon, and as well, you can also directly message them. In case you want to find a nearby distributor, you can let them know where you're at. And remember that you can also find all of our products directly at vanillecoutureshop.com. And hopefully we will be soon finding some distributors in the US as well. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. And stay tuned because we will be bringing to you some wonderful ideas for cookies. Okay? So thank you very much, guys, and see you.
Bye.